Gold. Always believe in your soul. Yes, gold has not just been an important thing for Spandau Ballet or James Bond villains, or indeed Silas Marner. There you go, that's my A level English literature coming into good use. Gold status in British Airways Executive Club has always been that dream, that lofty ambition, the ultimate creme de la creme peak to get to for many of us. Now, having been gold for a few years and probably going to eke out for another year, I am going to go over today how gold really compares with silver and is it worth it? Let's start off talking about my journey with the British Airways Executive Club. It's about me. It's about me. I joined the club probably 20 plus years ago and pretty much languished in blue for a long, long time. We started really traveling post 2010, starting with three, four, sometimes even five breaks a year. Nothing too exotic or adventurous, but we managed to kind of get up fairly close to bronze. And we did actually, I think it was around 2013, we tipped over and hit the bronze membership. I'm not going to spend too long talking about bronze membership, but looking back now, I have to say I was quite excited by having those extra perks. It's amazing how the scale keeps building and building as you go up the ranks. But getting to bronze, you get two or three good perks. The business class check-in is good. The priority boarding group 3 is okay for, well, you don't really get much in terms of the short haul flights, but it was really good on those long haul flights, getting just a number 3, because I recall some of those, certainly when you're flying in economy, maybe some of those Caribbean destinations or places when we went to Asia, it was a total bun fight. It was a real scrum. So having that third group entry really did make the difference. And of course, finally, the great option of booking your seat or reserving your seat 7 days in advance for free. Having this perk certainly back then was also great for where we like to sit on the plane. So that was all good. That was all good. So bronze was fine, and silver always seemed like quite a step up from that in terms of both the spend and the perks. And it took us maybe another 4 or 5. I want to say 20 at the beginning of 2018, we managed to, because we'd upped some of our flying to premium economy. Ooh, posh. And those bonus points or boosted points under the old system really helped. And boom, we just crept up to over 600 points. And that's when the access came into silver, which we'll go into those perks. And then the last few years, we, thanks to the freezing of or the dropping of the tier points threshold and the double tier points offer, put your hands up. Anyone who's double tier points, yeah, got you to gold. So yes, we managed to get to gold with the double tier points offer on the holidays, and we've been enjoying it the last couple of years. It's fair to say, a small element, a medium sized, or perhaps a massive element of the system is obviously the ego. Having the tier system, bronze, silver, oh, I'm gold for life, and platinum, and all this kind of gubbins, it does play into that kind of hierarchy. So you're always chasing that extra bit of status. And we're going to say today whether those ranks, I'm not going to stick with bronze, it's silver and gold, and just what the differences are, and whether it's going to be worth your time, effort, and more importantly, money. And I'm saying money because, as we all know, from the 1st of April 2025, BA is changing its tier point models. Under the old system, to get to silver, it was 600 points, and that was based on the distance you flew and the cabin you flew in. There was a big step up to 1,500 points to gold. However, the new regime, it's all about the monies. Yet you now have to spend £7,500 plus to get to silver, and a whopping £20,000 plus to get to gold. £7,500 is a lot of money. A lot of money for most people who need that for rent, mortgage, bills, food, that kind of boring stuff, not lavish holidays. £20,000 is just an exorbitant amount of money, wincing, eye-inducing amount of money, and it's going to mainly be the rich or people who are lucky enough, and fair play to them, to do a lot of travel on their businesses to be able to rack up those kind of points. So for the ordinary people, it may be a little harder to attain. Although one fun fact, this is not financial advice whatsoever, but one fun fact is £20,000 is also exactly to the penny the same amount of money that you can put into a cash or stocks and shares ISA. I'm not providing financial advice. It's just an observation of that number, that 20,000 figure is exactly the same for BA Gold membership or for long-term saving. Not advice, not advice, just an observation. For those of you who did watch my series, my trilogy on the British Airways Executive Club changes, first of all, I'll say there were quite a lot of you and a lot of subscribers that came in through that. So thank you so much. Also, a lot of returning viewers. However, not quite converting into the sub. So if you could obviously like and subscribe, that will help my little channel grow a little bit more. And that would be fantastic help for me. Anyway, so on my previous video, you all know that before BA announced these changes, I'd already racked up 3 videos in the can, fully dismantling the whole of the system, like how many flights you need, what are the cheapest ways to get to that sort of status of silver or gold in terms of the spend. And then I was going to wrap it all up in a nice little bow by saying if it was worth it. Now, that's kind of made a little bit simpler because all those mathematics that I did, and there was lots of them, trying to work out the least number of flights, the least amount you'd spend, and that was not based on tier point runs, and that is based on ordinary travellers who were just travelling from A to B. So all that was good. It was nearly there, and I was going to summarise it into a nice series. And BA came and took the winds out of my sails. So another victim here of this BA situation. This video is in a way, the resurrected corpse of that corpus of work. I think that kind of works. Maybe not. This video then will be looking at silver and gold head to head and seeing which one is the best and which one gives you the most value for money. The old system was quite interesting because there was some things you could do as a lot more creativity. Now, because it's based on pretty much pure cold stone spend, maybe the answer is a little bit easier. I'm sure you can guess what the answer is. So either you can fast forward to the end and see what the answer is, or you can join me on our voyage through the silver versus gold British Airways face off. Let's start with seat selection. So yes, before you even board the plane, before you even check in, if you are a bog standard traveller or a blue member, you, like everybody else, just have to do your online check-in. You don't have to only do it in person, but the maximum you can do is 24 hours in advance, and you can choose your seat then. It is pretty much scavenging for whatever's left over because everyone above you in bronze, silver and gold will have had their first pickings of all the best places on the plane. So, as a reminder, bronze, you can book your seats or choose your seats 7 days in advance, which, as a bronze member, was useful. The big step up is silver, where you can choose it at the time of booking. So, when you book your flight, even if it's 9, 10 months in advance, bang, you can secure your seats. This is exactly the same perk in gold. There is nothing different. I have read stuff that I think in first you can book 1A or one F or something like that, but it's pretty marginal, I think. So seat selection is pretty much a dead heat, really. No winner on that one. Next up is check-in. Check-in is going to be a little bit of a hazy one because there are a few different caveats and little systems and tweaks that are a bit annoying. But let's start off with the assumption that you're flying from Heathrow then. So if, first of all, you're flying from Heathrow and you are a silver member, you do get this line here, which is a bespoke check-in area for silver members, which is also the general business class check-in. I think there might even be one for bronze members. I'm not actually paying much attention because I tend to walk straight past them. These two tend to be quite pretty good, actually. They're usually quite quick, and you cut through and you then go on to, of course, the other perk, which is fast track security. Fast track security is obviously the same part of the security, but it's a dedicated lane. It's doesn't it's not bad. It's not bad. You get through a lot quicker than you would normally. So these are good perks. If you are gold, of course, you can use the first wing. The first wing is pretty special. I do like it. You have it cordoned off, so it has a nice exclusive feel. There's usually quite a lot of people on there, although sometimes it does take a little bit of time to get service. Just saying. You then have the bespoke security, which is probably one of my favourite parts. You just go in and it's a practice, a private basically security check-in. Go through there, and then we'll come on to the next one, which will be the lounge, and you go there straight directly into the lounge. So in terms of the check-in experience at Heathrow, this is a slam dunk win for gold. However, let's do BA's other airport, which is Gatwick. They kind of have a wing here, but it's a wing that gold, silver, and bronze people can use. It's all a bit messy, it's a bit mashed up. In terms of the fast track security, you do have fast track security, but it's the same line as the normal security. It's just you can cut around the sides and jump the queue. So Gatwick, it's better. Okay, it's better than just queuing up with everybody else, but it's probably not that much in it in terms of the check-in experience. So for Gatwick, it's going to be a dead heat. Now, this is the final part where things get a bit messy, because this is all well and good if you're traveling from London, but if you're traveling from elsewhere to London, so on your return journey, things tend to get a little bit less impressive. Most check-ins, certainly in the European cities, or sort of European airports, I should say, they just tend to have one for business and one for everybody else, so you're not that special. On the international flights, you'll usually have economy, premium economy, and then business. Some I've seen a few of them with first, but generally speaking, you're gonna just go use the business class check-in. So whether you're silver or gold, more often than not coming back, you're going to be in the same queue. So that's going to be a dead heat. Also, when it comes to fast track, you do not always get fast track. I'm actually a little bit disappointed how often we don't get fast track. But even so, the fast track security usually is a bit like the Gatwick Airport scenario. So I've not been in any other airport on gold membership or silver membership with the fast track, and it's been that exclusive first wing experience in Heathrow. So again, more often than not, you may find yourself just in the same queue. So again, dead heat in terms of silver and gold, using those fast track security lines. As I teased ever so much in the last section, we are now onto the lounges. This is perhaps the initial perk we get really excited about when we get that gold status. And again, we need to break it down: Heathrow, Gatwick, and the rest. So, Heathrow, as I said, you go straight into the first class lounge from the first class check in from the first wing. And I'm going to say that the lounge is nice. It's nice, but it's pretty much the same as business class, and it has been for a long time. The food you go in at breakfast, it seems to be the same cooked breakfast. It seems to be the same yogurts. It seems to be the same crisps. It seems to be the same array of drinks. The only difference I've found is probably in the champagne. You get nicer champagne. Perhaps you might even get nicer wine in the first lounge. But I'm saying there is not a material difference in either lounges, other than maybe the business class lounges get a little bit busier. But I'm saying, yes, whilst the first class lounge is technically better, and in fairness to them, they have been trying to do a few different things. I've seen like waffle stations and bagel stations, so maybe they're shaking it up. We'll see what they do when they roll out the changes to the club. So while I'm saying there isn't a huge amount of difference, I have to be fair and say, yes, gold wins the lounges, at least in Heathrow. Margie, that ramps up a lot in Gatwick. I have seen my video on Gatwick. The first class lounge in Gatwick, I really like that. It's very small, it's very intimate, it's very quiet. So I say definitely on that one, it's gold. The issue then goes a bit like check in and fast track security, as on the previous aspect, was the variety when you're coming back. There isn't a great deal of alternatives. Really, a lot of places we've flown through, they just have the one lounge, and even if it's not BA's lounge, it's a partner lounge. So it's not going to be something where you're going to get a ton of different options. I think maybe New York. I haven't flown through New York for a while, but I think they do have a pumped up lounge, the Chelsea room or whatever it is. And I've heard a couple of others where there may be the case, but generally speaking, any time we've come back from BA as silver members or gold members, we've been in the same lounge. One small caveat was, I think, Dubai. If you go to Dubai and you're a silver member, they will tend to punt you, or they have done to me. They will tend to punt you into just the bog standard lounge, which is not exclusive to the various BA or One World Alliance allies. At least that's happened to me the time I tried to fly through there. It got very busy, and when I was gold, they let me go into the BA lounge, so thank you. But generally speaking, certainly flying from London, it is a good perk being gold. That'd be London Heathrow and London Gatwick, because at London City Airport there is no BA lounge, bizarrely, and a bit of a shame, because you think with the amount of business people travelling through there, it might be an idea. There is, however, one more lounge we need to talk about, and the lounge that you get when you arrive. This is if you're flying business or first or are a gold member. Yes, it's the Arrivals Lounge. I have been planning to do a video on the Arrivals Lounge because I actually think it's a pretty good perk, certainly on those flights coming from the States. There's a few aspects I'll probably get into when I finish my video. I did do it on my old camera, so the picture quality wasn't great. So I'll need to do some fresh filming on 4K, and I promise that one will be coming in. But yeah, this is a really good perk. You have access to the shower rooms. There's usually a pretty good spread of food. It's usually quiet because obviously the number of people and the fact it's just gold and those flying business allowed in. The factor of that, though, unlike the other lounges, is you are not allowed to bring a guest in. The other downside is it closes at 2, and it's a very hard 2 o'clock finish, or you're all out. So yeah, so the final lounge, definitely the Arrivals Lounge. Watch this space. I promise I'll get around to doing a video on that in more detail. Let's move on to priority boarding. Now, priority boarding is obviously good. We do like to get on the plane early. It certainly does help avoid any of those annoyances with people cramming the lockers, overhead lockers full of bags, and you can't get yours on there. Getting on there nice and early, get that slot, all good, and hopefully someone doesn't pull it out and throw it down the cabin, which I've heard happen but never seen. Anyway, the British Airways boarding system is numbered, so it starts off at 0, so 0 is 1, and it goes down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think it's 8. Is it 7 or 8? Maybe I've seen some people board at 8 or even 9, depending on the flight, or maybe I dreamt that. Anyway, the clear cutoff point is 3. You need 3 and above. So, as a case in point, bronze members are automatically boarding group 3, silver boarding group 2, gold boarding group 1. I'm not quite sure who group 0 is. Is that the gold for life, or sort of the platinum members, or whatever it is? But I've never actually seen anyone get on when they called 0. Now, intercontinental flights, this is really good. To be honest, bronze is, as I mentioned it earlier, bronze is still effective. You will get on before the vast majority of people, especially in economy. So that's a standard forgiven. Go for it. Number 2, the silver status. This is again a nice perk, certainly for premium economy. You will generally get on before most of the other people. And number 1, gold. Yeah, obviously getting on the plane first and foremost is going to be a walk in the park, figuratively speaking. So gold's definitely a perk, but I don't think it really makes a huge amount of difference because not that many people tend to be called in silver. So intercontinental flights, even though long distance flights, definitely having 3 or above is good, and of course even 2 and 1 obviously gets you further and further. However, when it comes to European flights and short haul flights, it tends to just be a rather disappointing. Anyone in group 1 to 3, so you will just get all called together. So that perk goes completely out the window. So it is a bit of both. You might will get some really good early boardings on the long haul flights. However, even if you're group 1, you will well end up slumming it with groups 2 and 3 getting on the European flight. So while gold again wins this, it's not a hugely exciting perk in the scale of things. Okay, let's move on to some quicker ones now. We don't need to stick around hanging around and eke this out any longer than we need to. So, baggage allowance. Silver, you get 2 bags of 32 kilos each. That is really generous. Gold, 3 bags with 32 kilos each. Wow, that is a lot. Really good if you are perhaps traveling as a family or going on long distances. If, like me, you tend to travel quite light, never really take more than one suitcase, silver is absolutely fine, but I appreciate that gold is better allowance considerably, so obviously gold wins that. There are also Avios boosters as well. So in silver, you get 8 Avios for every pound you spend. In gold, that's 9, which is better. But under the previous regime, which they changed, what was it, a year ago or so, it was a lot more generous. So when you were bronze, you got 25% extra Avios, silver 50%, gold 100%. So it was a whopping perk that was. Obviously, it's been nerfed, so not as attractive. There is also stuff about additional reward flights and no fees. Yeah, all that's probably good. I, to be honest, haven't used any of them, so maybe I'm missing a trick there, or maybe it's not really that good an incentive. But I suppose it's better than silver, so it's going to have to once again be a win for gold. There may be a few other little things I'm missing, but those are the big picture, heavy hitting perks and differences between silver and gold. Now, as you saw, gold won throughout. Of course it did, of course it did. So, does that mean that gold is better than silver? Well, under the old regime, when I was working out the various little ways to game the system, ways to tap into the matrix. You could actually have got gold a lot easier than the current system. So my previous conclusion was just aim for silver. But if you could exploit what was the double tier points or any tier runs or anything like that, then go for gold. However, under the new system, the new revenue based system where you have to spend £20,000, I am going to say, in my opinion, £7,500 to get silver membership and all those silver perks is obviously a markup from what they previously had. So it's going to cost you a lot more money. But the value of that and the stuff you get for that is a considerably better value for money than gold if you have to spend an extra £12,500. I'm saying, even if I travel abroad maybe 3, 4, 5 times a year, I spend 7.5 grand. I get the lounge access. I get boarding group 2. I get the business class check-in. I get fast catch security, seat selection, all those things for £7,500. So, what does my extra £12,500 get me? It gets me a slightly nicer lounge and admittedly, a pleasant walk through the first wing at Heathrow. It gets me a decent, I suppose, shower at the end of certain flights, depending on the window of travel. It gets me an extra bag that I don't really need. It gets me 1 extra Avios per pound I spend, not that generous as the previous regime. Yeah, all in all, while gold is good and while I've enjoyed being a gold member by exploiting the double tier points hack, it ain't worth it. And going forwards, I'm going to let my gold run down and I will stick with silver. This isn't really a spoiler because before we got to gold, we were quite happy with silver. And when I first looked at the system, I thought, boom, silver is the sweet spot in two senses. The first sense being that it did offer the lounge access and pretty much most of the perks in some way, shape, or form as gold. But also, I tend to fly premium economy, which obviously isn't business class, and that was a bit of a pain because I couldn't access the lounges or some of those perks. So, leveraging those premium economy flights to get to silver meant I didn't have to pay for business class flights, which were through the roof. Yet I still got a lot of those business class perks. Anyway, that is my perspective. I would recommend that you do your own research, do your own budgeting, because £20,000, even £7,500 is just a lot of money. So, in conclusion, I would I am. I can say I am. I'm happy with silver. Always have been. Always will be. I maybe got a bit greedy with the double tier points and getting to gold. Is it worth it? No. But if you can and do have gold, enjoy it. Each to their own.